Welcome back, STSC scholars. All right, so now we are going to take a quick little look at what Module 2 was all about. And Module 2, or Unit 2, whichever way we want to refer to it as, I'm going to use them interchangeably, focuses on time management. So let's take a look at that, all right? All right, time management. Probably one of the single most important modules we are going to address in class. Because what I have observed over the years of working in higher education, not just at Tarrant County College, but for Dallas College, and even when I was a kind of a student assistant at the University of Texas at Austin, the biggest thing that I noticed that gets people is balancing the time. Because so many of y'all are working not just part-time, but full-time, over full-time, like 50, 60 hours a week. Some of y'all may be working multiple jobs. I was a full-time worker and a full-time student, both times for my undergrad and for my graduate level degrees. I did it twice, trying to take 4 or 5 classes a semester. Don't do that. And trying to work 40 plus hours a week. So it's one of those things where you're trying to adjust and learn to give yourself a little bit of grace, because it takes a minute to kind of get a feel for what's going to work for you, and knowing that, okay, this might change every single semester because the workload is going to be different. The class structure itself might be different, as well as how easy the material comes to you. May be different as well. So I will say, even when I was in graduate school, it took me a good 6 months to really settle into my rhythm. And I'd done this before, to really figure out, okay, what does this look like with me working a full-time job? And then I was teaching on top of that. I was planning a wedding and trying to go to graduate school. Like, you want to talk about like trying to run on all 8 cylinders? I was doing that and then some. Kind of like what I am doing now, but you can get through it. So with the time management one, the purpose of this whole unit was to get you guys to kind of start thinking about your pacing for school. Because all too often, and this is me putting my academic advisor success coach hat on and taking my instructor hat off, I have so many people that will come in and say, I'm going to be a nurse, I'm going to be a teacher, I'm going to be an engineer. But there's no sense of when they're going to do it. And as a result, I've seen people start and stop over and over and over again. And the goal is to get you guys in here. Let's figure out what it is that you would like to do when you grow up, or what your next chapter looks like. Let's get you across the stage, and let's get you into that new career. Ideally, in one shot. If it doesn't happen that way, everybody's journey is different. That's okay. But the thing is I want you guys to really think intentionally about what you're doing, because in this case, this is a lot of time and a lot of money involved, and I want you to think intentionally about it. This is not really a situation where you can kind of just go with the flow and see what happens. And I have people that say that all the time. I'm just gonna kind of see what happens, and I'm like, yeah, but you are you're an electrical engineering major. You can't really go with the flow with that, knowing that you need to have certain things done by a certain time. So yeah. Is to think about that. It's also to give you a visual representation of what all you have on your plate, because I think a lot of times we talk about it and we know in our head, yeah, I've got work and I have school, and yeah, I have some homework I might have to do, I have some reading, I got to cook for my family, I got to maybe fold those clothes that are sitting in the corner, wash those dishes, get ready and do the yard, since spring is getting ready to come, all that kind of stuff. So with that time management chart that you guys had, the purpose of that was to really have y'all start thinking about like to visually put down, here's what I have to do. So not just as a checklist, but where you could visually see, okay, I sleep during this time. My morning routine takes this amount of time. My commuting time to go to school or work takes this time. If you're going to church, if you're taking kids or siblings to various activities and running errands, that takes time. That was something I had to personally factor in and stuff like that. So even when I was in, I'm going to go back to like graduate school, I had to factor that in because, I worked all the way in Fort Worth, and during that time I lived all the way in Southeast Dallas. And then that's when we moved a little bit further out, like where I live right now. I live between Forney and Terrell. I'm all the way in Kaufman County. I'm 2 counties over, right? So that commuting time back and forth, I had to account for that because that's study time I don't have. And I had to figure out, okay, does it make more sense for me to take an online class and really sit down and absorb that information? Or can I realistically get to Garland or Frisco from work during rush hour to go to an in-person class, go home, then study, and also prepare for work and grade papers and all that kind of stuff the next day? So that's what some of the things that I wanted you to kind of think about. So this is what this chart looked like. So for some of you guys, this is what I was referencing. You didn't have to write in every single little block. You could color code, which some of you guys did. So like 6 a.m. if you're asleep, that's what you put. I'm one that's up at 5 o'clock in the morning, so mine would be awake. And in some cases, what you might see is, typically you have approximately 168 hours in every week, right? Some people used less time, which means they had free time. Other people may have used up 200 plus hours because, what's happening. They may be multitasking. So like in my case, like even right now, I'm recording a video for you guys, as well as I've got a load of laundry in there. So I'm doing chores at the same time, and between the videos, I'm like changing stuff between the dryer, like the washer and dryer, and I'll eventually fold it up. So my time breakdown will look completely different than yours because a lot of times I'm doing 2 or 3 things at one time. And I did notice when I was teaching this class in person, my students, my new moms in particular, were well over 200 hours when we actually tallied the hours. And they were like, how am I at 200? And it's like, well, you're watching TV, you're feeding your baby, you have your other kids there, so that's family time. Dinner's in the kitchen cooking, and you have a load of laundry. So you're doing like 5 things at once. So yeah, I was like, technically you're in next week already. But yeah, the idea between having this visual representation of what your typical week looks like, or if you actually tracked your activities for 1 week, is for you to get an idea of what that workload is going to look like going forward. So you may be somebody that started with 2 classes, but you ultimately want to work up to 4. We got to find a place for those 4 classes to fit, and not only the instructional part of the classes, but the reading and the homework, like the study time as well. It has to come from somewhere. So that means there's some stuff that may have to get delegated around at home, or some things that may get put on the back burner. So I can give y'all an example of when I was in school. I couldn't cook every day. Couldn't do it. I just, I wouldn't get home in time. Like if I left work at 5, I wouldn't get home till after 7, sometimes 7:30, because the commute and the traffic was so bad. That was just me getting in the door. So I would typically, my husband and I, we would typically cook over the weekend and portion things out. And we'd have some stuff in the refrigerator and we'd have some stuff in the freezer. And, so thankful for the people that bought us the little thing that we could use to package up our food and open it up later so it doesn't get freezer burn. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. So that was something that helped us kind of cut down on time. Um, but yeah, it's one of those things. And I think once you, I don't want to say that you fully master it, but once you get into the swing of having school as part of your routine, then things will level out. But just remember, it may not happen all in one semester. Like, you may not settle into your rhythm until after the summer or going into the fall semester in August, where you kind of get used to that routine of, yep, I'm going to go to school at this time. You could be an early morning studier, you could be a late night studier, you could be a weekend only studier. One of the things that I did is I would take advantage of my lunch hour. So if I had a paper to write, then yeah, I can't write a 20-page paper in an hour. I can get 20 pages done in a day. That I can do. Yeah, you build your writing chops, you'd be surprised. But I can get my reference page or works cited page together and make it nice and pretty in less than an hour. And get it all formatted properly with, the proper spacing, the proper format, the hanging indents, the proper punctuation. I was like, that I can do during my lunch hour and still have time to eat or to go for a quick walk, right? So there's different little tricks of the trade that you kind of pick up and figure out kind of when are you most alert, and is it best for you to study in the morning versus the evening, so you're not battling against yourself, especially with these more complicated and time-consuming subjects that you have to adapt to. Okay, so that is the rationale behind module number 2. So hopefully that information is helpful, and those examples are helpful to you all as you guys get used to this first year of school. Some of y'all, this is your first semester, some of y'all, this is your second. Just remember, it does look different, especially for those of y'all that are adult learners, because there's so much stuff that's on your plate, or if you're caregiving for elderly parents or grandparents. I feel you, it is a lot. But it's just trying to figure out that system and that way of getting organized. All right. Well, as always, if you guys need me, you'll be able to reach me during office hours. You can also schedule a separate time with me individually, but hopefully this helped bring some clarity to module 2 and show you that there was a method to the madness as far as why were you given this and what is it supposed to do for you going forward. Okay. All right. Well, take care of each other, and remember, you got this.